on a recon walk together if you'd like to join me. I've got the big attack coil on the AT Pro, 15-inch double D butterfly style. That way I'm going to do a recon and cover lots of ground as I bushwalk and survey the area. The reason I'm doing this is because that dump area isn't on the plan, the 1942 plan I've got at this camp, and it's rather inexplicable because it's not near any of the huts or the camp areas. I don't understand where that material's come from, and it's only a very small area. So I believe that my plan isn't entirely accurate, which is often the case with World War II and ghost town plans and old plans from the 1800s. You need a bushwalk to look. Now, like me, you probably do most of your recon by Google Earth. I do use a drone sometimes, but really boots on the ground is the best way. In this sort of open forest, you don't get much on Google Earth, particularly World War II and earlier, because that's nearly, well, it's over 70 years now and there's a lot of regrowth. You might spot a big slab, but you won't spot anything else. So I've got a pair of binoculars here. I'm going to scout around and have a look into the distance to see if I can spot anything that's significant or a structure of some description. Keep swinging the big coil as I walk. That big coil is going to cover a lot of ground, and see what targets I can ping. So if I do get into an area where there's a few targets and it looks like it may be a camp or a tent area, I've got the standard coil with me. That's coming along. I'll stick the standard coil back on so I get better target separation. So let's go for a bit of a walk together. Well, here's my first recon target. It's a Mills bomb fuse. The big attack coil has smashed that, as you can imagine, of a British Mills grenade. I'll put up some photographs of what a Mills grenade looks like to better illustrate that find. Here we go. So if I'm finding those things, there's been exercises in this area. Second target's another top of a Mills bomb. Obviously been grenade training in this area during World War II. All good. Just need to find the spot where these boys might have sat down for a bit of a break and see if they dropped anything else other than grenades. Well, I'm going to save a bit of bushwalking by using binoculars. The reason I do that is because you can often see a stump or an old burnt tree in the distance. Looks like a structure, you walk way out of your way and it's just a tree. Really good in hilly country, especially if you're looking for old mine sites or old goldfields camps, silver mining towns, that kind of thing, where you're in a remote area. You can't get a real good look at it on Google Earth. You're on foot, use binoculars, saves a lot of walking. Handy bit of gear, binoculars. Particularly when I'm on foot, I'm a long way from the car. I've also got lots of water here, by the way, and we're going to be out here for a few hours, so let's get cracking. Another Mills bomb fuse. Definitely been a bit of training going on in here. I just need to find the spot where they were camped that's associated with that dump I've been digging. That's a great find. Happy with that. What you can see is a gun pit. So bit of infantry training or grenade training going on here. I like this. I've got targets around here. I haven't dug them yet. They're in the 60s, so they're probably blank ammunition. It'll be a World War II gun pit. If you're in the bush in this situation, look for these kind of defensive positions. Often you see slip trenches, that kind of thing, in these World War II camps. This is fairly remote, not well visited, so I'm not getting any modern rubbish whatsoever. Lots of Mills grenade top fuses and blank 303 ammunition from the 1940s. So I like this. although not necessarily camped here, the men were definitely exercising in this spot. So we'll keep looking around at distant targets and over the creek just down there, and see what else we can find, more defensive positions like this perhaps. Just a little two-man scrape here, maybe a couple of riflemen or a machine gun, I'm not sure. Okay, we'll dig up these targets. Righto, these are the first 4 targets out of this gun pit I just showed you. Got 3 303s, I'll get a head stamp off those, and a Mills fuse. So the boys are shooting down the slope into the creek, lobbing grenades at their mates. I'll just show you what I've got here now. This is obviously a little World War II combat exercise area in preparation for going up to New Guinea and facing the Japanese. That's another little gun pit there. Over there where the AT Pro is with my pick, that's the bigger gun pit I showed you. I'd say this has been like a platoon size setup. There's little shallow scrapes around the place. There's another one there, and there's one there. Oh, and here we go. This is why you do this recon. Here's a bigger pit here. These 2 blokes have put a bit of effort into their hole. So we might have 12 men here, I reckon. From what I can see, the distributions of the shell casings, they were firing in this direction, over the northwest end of the gun pits. So the enemy, as they were coming up this slope out of that creek line. Very interesting. A lot of fun, these old sites. Never know what's we find it here. Look, I've only got ammunition and grenades so far, and the kookaburras having a good laugh at me, as they well might. But good chance for buttons and Australia flashes and that kind of thing. They're generally in fatigues in this kind of situation, in their jungle clothing, not obviously in their dress uniform. Anyway, let's push on. Okay, I just got this out of that big gun pit. Not quite sure what it is. Screw mechanism with a possible some sort of pin arrangement on here. Probably grenade related, I'd say. Nice. Okay, my next find is a clip off an ammo belt, probably off a Vickers machine gun. Wouldn't have been a Bren because they were magazine fed. Probably a belt fed Vickers, which was standard Australian Army equipment, early World War II. Also on the hole was a rather nasty find. It was a big centipede, and they can give you a really nasty bite. And of course I'm not wearing gloves, so remember to pack gloves. Interesting spot here. I've just to the back of the rear of those gun pits, I found broken bottles. I've just dug a top of an old screw top cordial dating from the 40s. As you can see, we've got beer bottles. Is there a date on this one? No. Here's another longer style bottle. So there's a bit of broken glass here. So they were resupplied and drank a bit of refreshments here. Well, I'm digging a metal target here with a target ID of 76, and out come this complete little bottle. I don't know if it's got any markings. Interesting. They may have been camped out here. This is the kind of thing I was looking for. Some sort of remote bush camp where they were here 3 or 4 days maybe on exercise. Well, this is all my research and footwork paying off. The 76 metal target I was digging when I got that bottle was this. It's a coin. It's a halfpenny. I'll be really interested to see the date on this one. So the boys were sat down here for some period of time. Quite a few bottles, a lot of broken beer bottles or cordial bottles. Really promising to get a target like that. And I'll tell you what, that big 15-inch cord has smashed this with no problem at all. Solid, hard, repeatable target ID. Nice. Well, there it is. It's just glorious condition with a fabulous patina. 1943 Australian halfpenny. So this is late war training, ready for Australian operations in the islands. Balikpapan, Borneo area, and the New Guinea Islands. What a great find. So the boys were here for a little while, and this is only the second target alongside these gun pits. Well, a recon's really paying off here. Just got that halfpenny. I've got a heap of ammunition and Mills grenade tops. You can see behind me here is that machine gun pit where I got that bit of belt ammunition clip. Now behind it there's the detector with the, I'm still using the big Nell. That's where I got the halfpenny and showed you those broken bottles, and I just got a silver coin. So this is recon footwork working out for me. Really happy with this. Hope you're enjoying the video. This was a solid 83. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a silver sixpence. Some soldiers dropped a couple of coins on exercise, which suits me. Okay, let's get a date off this one. Right, well, the story's developing as we go. 1950. So that's a 50% silver sixpence. So the army was here after the war. So this little camp and spill would suggest World War II. Now those coins weren't together. That's not to say they weren't dropped at different time intervals, but I'm now rethinking, and I would say this could be a post-World War II gun pit and exercise area that I've walked into. But I'm happy with that. It's 50% silver. King George VI. There he is. Now, I got a 76 from the surface, and then it jumped up to an 80, but generally these 50% silvers don't ring that high, so hence the target idea did change slightly. But tell you what though, the 50% are often pretty tarnished. This one isn't. It's in great nick. Nice sandy, well-drained clayey sand soil. Well, this is turning into a real treasure trove. Got this perfect condition Australian Military Forces button. Look at the Australia there, the crown and the little Tassie down the bottom. Shank, whole deal. This is with the, well, in the vicinity of the sixpence and the halfpenny I just got, and there's more targets in here. Right, here's my fourth target, third coin. It's a penny in a pretty sorry state of affairs. I don't know what the boys have been doing with this one. Interested to see the date on that. Look at that thing. Hasn't been shot. I'm pretty sure it's a kangaroo. This is fantastic. I'll just show you around the site now, and I've got more targets in this one little spot. Right, the plot thickens. It's also a 1950 coin. So these blokes weren't training for World War II, they're training for Korea. And they're probably about to head up to the Korean Peninsula, because Australia was heavily involved in the Korean War, of course. I don't know what's happened to that coin. I don't know if there's a bit of trench art started or some sort of shenanigans. But that's great. I've got more targets in this hole. That's where I've just got that run of targets. I clearly haven't cleaned that up and filled it in. I'll remediate that when I'm finished. There's more high-tone targets there yet. I just spotted as I stood up another gun pit up here. All makes sense. Very interesting now to get the head stamps off those 303s from that gun pit, because if they're well, they're quite likely 1940s ammunition being used in the Korean War, but this is either national servicemen or regulars training for deployment to Korea, where of course the Navy and the Air Force were also heavily involved in the Korean War. Just looking up here to see what else we can find. So this little action's just here. This is the kind of thing I walk into the bush and try to find. It's not necessarily going to be a camp where they've stayed overnight, or their barracks if you like. It's a bush deployment, maybe 2 or 3 days. Now here we've got a spot where we found a button and 3 coins and a heap of glass. So this little platoon or company, whatever was here, was resupplied and was here for maybe a few nights, who knows. And old mates rolled over and lost a few coins. A lot more to explore yet. I haven't spotted any structures, but this clearly is an exercise area, so definitely worth investigating down that creek line, down the slope, where I think the enemy attack must have been coming from. Right, I might wrap it up for today. I've done enough on the site, and I think that's a pretty good reconnaissance video. I'm happy with that. Research paid off. I knew there was something in here associated with that bottle dump, although I haven't found any Dutch or American relics here. This is Australian, and probably Korean War training. So these diggers went to Korea 50 to 53. I'm only basing that on the dates of the coins I've got. when I get home I'll check those head stamps on those 303 rounds I got on that Vickers gun pit. Now the reason I had to come in today was, as you can see, it's glorious weather. It's about 32 degrees, just fantastic in here today. But tomorrow and the next week or so, really bad weather expected, lots of heavy rain. That will impact on that dump area because the grass will get greener and longer and it'll be encouraged to grow, which I don't like. So I thought I'd just better do a bit of recon in here before we got all the rain. Probably won't affect this bush too much. This is fairly like open forest. Doesn't change much with the weather. But I'll come back in with a smaller coil and do a second video in here at these gun pits. And this is a huge area. I'm a long way from the car and I would imagine there's a lot more to discover. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today, everyone. I've really enjoyed being in here. It's been very rewarding. Thanks for watching and happy fossicking. Bye for now.